synopses. Synopses. Yeah. The plural of synopsis is synopses. Hi, I'm Kayla Manda. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I want to talk about query letters and synopses. In the fiction of me submitting to pitch wars, I need not only a finished manuscript, but also a query letter and a synopsis. I know that I'm not actually submitting to pitch wars, but as I've talked about before, that is kind of the framing device that I'm using to force myself to get some shit done with this manuscript, kind of to prove that I could submit if I wanted to. So I need to write a query letter and I need to write a synopsis, but me being me, I don't know fuck all about writing either of those things. I kind of have some experience doing a synopsis because I have an English literature degree, so I have from time to time had to summarize entire works or do like article breakdowns and things like that, which pull on the same kind of skills as a synopsis. But I have absolutely no experience doing a query letter and I don't even know where to begin. Luckily for me, I have two very talented friends, Rebecca Skye and E. Latimer, who are not only experienced in writing queries, but have gone as far as to write a little workshop for it that they put on at the Vancouver Public Library a while back. And they were gracious enough to give me copies of their PowerPoint presentation from that. So I do have something to cheat from a little bit and build up my query letter. I am also going to be using the resources on the Pitch Wars website. I will link it down below, but there are some query letter resources and also some synopsis resources that I'm going to pull from when my lovely PowerPoint presentation doesn't have all of the information that I need, or if I want some supplemental research. So for the first part of this video, before we watch me suffer through actually trying to do either of these things, we're just going to cover the basics of like what these things need, and part one is query letters. So according to Aaron and Rebecca, who I trust not to lead me astray, a query letter is a single-paged email which contains a hook, a description of your story, the details of what you're selling, so genre, word count, that kind of thing, and then a description of you as an author, a salutation, and any requested materials. So you want to open with a personalized greeting, dear Mr., Ms., Mix, whatever their last name is, and spell it right. It's also been advised to me that you should go with a non-specific Ms. because you A, don't know if someone is married, and B, even if they are married, they may not prefer Mrs. My mom has been married for over 30 years and she definitely goes by Ms., not Mrs. Then you go right into your hook, which Aaron and Becca's formula for has 5 parts. A conflict, a compelling but non-rhetorical question, a twist on the expected, a personal connection, and then a setting of the scene. From there, it's the description of what you're actually writing, the introduction of your character, the introduction of your problem, and then how your character is going to set out and solve the problem and what is standing in their way from doing so. Then you just want to describe yourself, a sweet short bio, leave your salutation, which is professional and brief, and then give them any of the other content they have requested. So for Pitch Wars, that's the first chapter. Sometimes it's 10 pages. Whatever it is that they're specifically asking you for, you want to make sure that you're giving to them. Part 2, synopses. So without having done either of these things, I actually think my synopsis is going to be easier for me, partially because I have kind of done things that are similar in my college degree, but also because it's an unsensationalized, straightforward description of the plot of your story, a straightforward journey from where you start to where you end up. It's just the facts. You don't have to worry about making it intriguing and compelling. This is not to pull in a reader. This is just to give your agent or editor or whomever the facts. The notes I have for this are to keep it brief, clear, and not ask rhetorical questions. Apparently agents are like allergic to rhetorical questions, so I think I'm just going to remove them from my vernacular entirely until I am finished this process. So the advice I've heard, which I'm going to use on this particular project, is to just write out your beats. Give each beat a few sentences depending on how complicated it is, and then use transitional language to make sure that it all flows together well. Again, this is not the sensationalized, compelling version. This is just getting down the bones of your story with as little nonsense as possible. I just want to throw in my standard disclaimer that I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. This is just advice that I have pulled from people I trust or because it sounded good on the internet and I'm trying to force into a system that will work for me. I'm going to test it out and see if it works, but this is not me saying that it's how you should do it or that it's the best way to do it. Okay, so Min was being like really cute and napping on my bed, and I lay down with her for like 5 seconds just to cuddle, and now this, and it's 5 hours later, instead of getting any work done on my query or my summary, I took a by accident nap and I feel like Rip Van Winkle hit me with a bus. So what we're gonna do is go clean this up, make me feel like a human again, and then make a cup of tea because it is too late in the day for coffee, and hopefully manage to salvage something productive out of today. I am really struggling to write this hook. Like, it's just not coming at all, and it's frustrating me to continue trying to write it. It just does not want to make itself known to me, and it's getting to the point where it's kind of making me not want to keep writing my query letter at all, which is not ideal. So we're going to try to give me some forward momentum by doing some of the easier parts of the query letter and giving myself smaller wins so that I'm feeling a little bit accomplished, and that can help to propel me through the hard part of writing my hook. We're going to start with the details of the stuff I'm actually selling. So genre, word count, category, title. The folder that Karen Alex's book lives in my Google Drive is called The Lunacy. It was the first part of the world that I came up with. It's just the name for like a ruling council for shapeshifters. So I think I'm gonna go with The Lunacy as my working title. It is a bad title and I hate it, and it will not be the end title ever. So if you have any recommendations for like a good mountain lion cougar pun, I would fucking love that. You can leave that in the comments. But for the time being, we're just gonna work with The Lunacy because it's what I have and I don't wanna stress about this anymore. So the details of what I'm selling are: The Lunacy is a paranormal romance complete at 95,000 words. Yeah, 95,000 words. I don't know how it got that long either. Other easy stuff should theoretically be my bio, since I do know myself pretty well, but it should be short, sweet, and relevant. So my work is not relevant to writing at all. I am a data entry monkey. I have never published before. I don't have any awards. I don't have any special research into shapeshifters, I guess. But I do have an English literature degree, so we are gonna start with that and pad around it. Writing my hook did not get any easier, and okay, that's not fair. It got a little bit easier, but it did not come the way I wanted it to. And I tried to jump forward to do the middle bit, introduce my main character, introduce their problem, and then talk about how they're gonna tackle it and what's in their way. And that also was okay, but didn't work the way I wanted it to. I want it to be grabby and compelling, and it isn't. It's stilted and boring. So I have a new plan. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write my synopsis first and try to let that inform my query letter. Because my synopsis is just the raw ingredients, right? It is the most boring, most straightforward version of my plot. And I think that if I can work off that just like no bullshit description of what's going on in my story, I will be able to better synthesize a compelling, interesting version of it for my query letter without trying to like pull it out of thin air. And then from that, I can distill down a hook that is attention grabbing. As I said before, the synopsis method I'm gonna use is just giving each of my beats a couple of sentences with some transitional language between to make it flow together better, but very straightforward, no nonsense, no frills, just at each beat, this is what is happening, and trying to get that down as completely as possible. Wish me luck. So it's like almost 6 hours later, and I'm actually done both my query letter and my synopsis. I think the key was letting myself do my synopsis first, because once I had all of my plot down in a clear, concise, easy to reference way, it was way easier for me to do the work on my query letter. I think just having that like straightforward, no bullshit rundown of my plot from my synopsis both reacquainted me with my world and like reframed me in it, and also let me be more creative in my query, because I wasn't trying to both craft a good sentence and also remember facts. I had all of that already done, so I could just work on crafting and being like a compelling writer. Yeah, do you have an opinion about it? The other thing that I did, which I think really helped, was something I learned from work. So when I'm writing an email for a client or stakeholder that has a lot of sort of complicated information. What then? Yeah? Oh my goodness. Right, when I'm writing a letter for a client or a stakeholder that has a lot of complicated information, I just list the details of the information that I need, like as bullet points, not a sentence, not a full thought even, just exactly what it is that I need. And then I can work on crafting sentences and paragraphs from there, but it helps make sure that I have, yeah? Sorry, my cats really needed attention apparently. What I was saying was that listing it out so it's just bullet point information and not worrying about craft first makes sure that I get all of the information I need down. I can order it in a way that makes sense to me, and it basically functions like doing the synopsis first. It gives me that rough draft that's just information, so I can worry about being interesting and compelling after the fact, once I make sure that I'm saying everything that needs to get said. So going forward, that is going to be my system: synopsis, then a bullet form of the letter, and then build the letter from there. I don't know if that's helpful to anyone else. Obviously, this was not a perfect system. I really struggled with it to get to this point and to distill it into what I think will work for me going forward. But if it works for you, I'm very happy about that. Please let me know down below if it does. And thank you for sticking around this long. Hopefully this adorable little baby cleaning her paws is an appropriate thanks for spending a little bit of time with me. If you're looking for me anywhere else, I'm pretty much everywhere as Kayla Amanda, and that is Kaylughmanda. I'll see you next time. Two very talented friends, Aaron Sky. Nope. Aaron Sky. Well, they could get married.